Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 4 of the Your Fave Film Critic podcast, starring and hosted by yours truly, your favorite film critic, Dom Griffin. So, welcome back. I hope everyone has had a good week. I had a terrible week. It was so bad. It sucked. It was minorly traumatic. I'm not going to get too deep into details, but I will say definitively that somehow weekend 2 of running a movie theater that is playing Barbenheimer, both Barbie and Oppenheimer, was somehow worse than opening weekend. I don't know how that happened. I may never fully understand it, but I thought opening weekend was like a war, and then I thought this one was like a worse war. Apologies for comparing working at a movie theater to combat that leads to death between states. Sounds very insensitive of me, but I think realistically, the better way to describe what it's like to work in a movie theater when a movie theater is really busy is it's just like that show, The Bear. Like I'm not gonna make a video about The Bear. I don't think I talked about it much on the pod either. It's just a really good show. I've never had to work in a real restaurant, so like there's a lot that's different, obviously. Like when you have to you know, chop onions and stuff, it's very different than like popping popcorn. But I will say that when the shit hits the fan, when it's really busy and there's just thousands of people coming into your building, it is somewhat similar and it is maddening. And if you've never done it, there's a part of you that's like, it can't be that bad. It can't be that hard. It's a movie theater. How hard is it? And I just, on behalf of like everyone who works in a movie theater right now, if you're listening to this or watching this, I just hope if you love movies and you love going to the movies, that you'll trust my word on it and just be as nice as possible to the people that work there as you can. Post COVID, I feel like our industry has been in a very precarious place, and you have to understand anytime you go to a movie theater, regardless of its size, that there are corporate forces outside of the building who are purposefully and like pointedly being less supportive of the people out in the field. It's to save money and things like that. So like if you go into a theater and there's something like fucked up, or the stuff you saw from like the Sound of Freedom tweets of people being like, why is the AC busted and it's the deep state, it's a conspiracy, I assure you it is actually your favorite thing, capitalism at play, and all the people operating the business on the ground, they're doing the best they can. And opening weekend of Barbenheimer, there were so many people who came in who were so stoked to see Barbie, and they were all so positive and upbeat, and they were like so fun. They were very fun. It was infectious. I feel like weekend 2 was like a lot more looky loos. A lot of people who were like, all right, let's see what all this Barbie hype is about, I guess. They had that attitude when they came in the door, which is like, I think the worst way to watch a movie personally, but what are you going to do? And a lot of them were a lot less nice. I'm not going to share anyone else's stories from this weekend, but a lot of my team experienced some like really, really gross, like pretty much abusive behavior from a lot of our guests that really made me sick. And I personally dealt with a fair amount of it, but I'm like huge. I don't, you can't really tell from like, or you can probably tell, but like I'm a very big man. Like I'm pretty tall, I guess, and I'm very sizable. There's a limit to how rude people can be to me in person. They're always afraid of getting choke slammed, as they should be. So I didn't have to take the brunt of it, but I did take a lot of it, and I had Sunday was maybe the busiest Sunday I've dealt with in like years. One of the worst days I've had at my job ever. The I think you should leave season 2 sketch, where Tim is on the ghost tour and he keeps asking about cum shots and stuff, and he says like, I don't want anybody to have the worst day at their job. But like that's me. I was having the worst day at my job, and nobody asked me about cum once. It was just that would have been an improvement, to be entirely honest. But as a result, I am just very, very like beaten down and exhausted. I'm in a lot of pain, a lot of physical pain, which is the main reason why I did not get a new video up this week either. It was just that was just untenable. One of the days that was supposed to be my production day turned into being at work on your day off day, and then my day off day turned into a falling asleep repeatedly throughout the day. So I have, however, been looking forward all week to talking to you guys and recording the pod. I love doing this now. It's like kind of my new favorite thing. I look so much forward to it. So I hope that you guys do too. Otherwise, it'd be really weird if I'm just like the main one enjoying this, I guess. But we will be talking about the same structure we do every episode. I'm going to talk about some stuff going on in the news, just a handful of little items, and then I'm going to talk about what I watched this week, which for the second week in a row actually is just my Letterboxd most recent top four. Apparently, in a given week, when I try hard, I can watch four things. I'm washed, ladies and gentlemen. I used to watch so many more things, and we'll get back to that at some point. But for now, I think four's not bad in a week, right? That's not terrible. So we'll talk about those things. Very excited to talk about those things. It was actually a pretty good watch week. And then I'll answer some questions from you, the viewers and listeners, and mostly just like my friends. So yeah. But yeah, just one more. I just want to repeat that one more time. Like, if you're going to the movies, please just be nice to people. Just please be a little patient. Uh, Please be cool. Like, be cool. I go to a lot of customer service things. I worked in customer service my entire life, and I try to be nice to everybody, even when they're pissing me off, even when something's going wrong. I try to just be patient because I'm like, I know 9 times out of 10, it's not the person I'm talking to's fault, you know? So please, if you have never worked a customer service job, keep that in mind. A lot of time, the person that you're angry at, they're home, they're chilling, they don't work past 4. It's the people in your face that are like the ones getting the brunt of it. So I just figured, for all of my homies out there, fighting the good fight, coming home smelling like artificial butter product. I love you all, and I hope you guys are holding up okay. We've really been through it this last couple of weeks. Anyway, on with the regular scheduled program. I'm going to talk about some news items. First thing, I I saw this again. This is like my second week in a row where I've not been on Twitter or anything as often. Like, I still check on stuff, but I mean, I'm not as like, I think anyone that knows me knows I'm a super online person. I'm the friend that you send a thing that you think he would be interested in, and I'm like, yeah, I saw that like an hour ago. This is my life. But these last 2 weeks, people have randomly messaged me about things, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I've just not been paying as much attention. One of those things is that I guess it came out that James Gunn and Peter Safran are developing a third Wonder Woman movie with Gal Gadot. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it sucks, I guess, that Patty Jenkins isn't going to get to come back for her third movie, because I think she's cool. I like the first Wonder Woman. I, for months, was a pretty ardent Wonder Woman 1984 defender, to be honest. I thought it was a sweet movie for the most part. I dug all the Donner stuff. Kind of a sucker for the Donner stuff. What are you going to do? But the idea of doing another Wonder Woman movie in the new rebranded, restarted, rebooted, all new DC universe, getting a new Superman, getting a new Batman, getting a new everything, but keeping Gal Gadot. We're getting rid of Henry Cavill, but we're keeping Gal Gadot. We're getting rid of, well, I guess Ben Affleck couldn't really stay. We're getting rid of him, but we're keeping Gal Gadot. Like, of all the people to keep, like, the only two people I think it's safe to keep are, I think it's okay to bring back Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. I think that's fine. And I think it's fine if John Cena comes back as Peacemaker, because, like, come on. But other than that, everybody else, let's start over. And I guess you could argue keeping Margot Robbie as Harley, I suppose. But, like, otherwise, everybody's got to fucking go. That's the whole point of a reboot. The idea of, like, just keeping her around when she's, I feel like, gotten, like, demonstrably worse as an actress. Like, I like the first Wonder Woman. I don't have any. The third act sucks, but look, what are you gonna do? And I thought the second Wonder Woman, the first act kind of sucks, but overall I enjoyed the movie. Like, I thought she was fine, but everything else I've watched her in since, I've just been like, oh my god, why are we even doing this? Like, her coming back in the Fast movies, like when that reveal happened at the Fast 10 screening I was at, just no one popped. People were just like, her? It was, for real, it was very much like maybe on Arrested Development, they were like, her? Really? She's back? Like, I guess no one dies in this fucking franchise unless they really died. So I don't know, the whole thing I think was just kind of like silly, but I don't even know, like, you would just do like a soft reboot, I guess. Like, I don't know that that's something that I'm all that interested in personally. I don't think that I really want a I don't think I want that. I mean, this giant multi-billion-dollar franchise or whatever, not about me personally or me specifically. So maybe there's lots of other people that actually are stoked. I didn't want to go further into the hashtag on Twitter because I saw it was trending. I was like, why is Wonder Woman trending? What the hell? And then I saw why, and I was like, oh. And then I saw like 6 or 7 Snyder people tweet. Like I'm a Snyder fan myself, but I don't personally really align with these people. They're like sort of like zealots, I guess. Seeing their reaction to it was very like, oh my god, but Henry Cavill can't come back, but she can. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I agree with you ideologically, but I'm not gonna get that worked up, especially because I actually don't think it's gonna happen. I gotta be honest. As excited as I am for Gunn's Superman movie now, like I think it actually has the potential to be something really cool and special. A really big part of me thinks that somehow none of his movies are going to come to fruition. I know that sounds like really pessimistic and like doomery, but like there's just this part of me that's just like, this is just not going to happen. Like I don't know how fast the strike is going to get wrapped up or whatever, but there's a gut feeling I have of like, nah, I'm gonna wake up and like Warner Brothers Discovery is gonna get sold to Comcast or something, and they're just gonna start from scratch, and this is never gonna occur. We're just always gonna talk about, hey, remember that time James Gunn was gonna reboot Superman, and he wanted Metamorpho in it? We're just gonna that's just gonna be a thing we talk about forever. Like, yeah, dude, he got Noho Hake to play Metamorpho for his Superman movie that is now never gonna happen, and then instead we're gonna get like the Russos doing Superman. It'll still be that same guy. It'll still be Corn Sweat, but it'll just be like fucking awful. And like Tom Holland will play Lex Luthor or something. It'll just be some gray man cherry garbage. But no, I don't know. I just feel weird. I'm like, I guess that's. I don't think that's. I just don't think it's gonna happen. Honestly, okay. Even if we do live in the universe where Gunn's DC universe does come to fruition, I don't think the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman thing's gonna happen. Maybe they're just trying to be cool with her because she's like a big name or whatever, and they're trying to work it out. But I think it'll end up coming down to creative differences, and there'll be some actress they've wanted the whole time who's just been waiting to get the green light to be like, all right, it's you now, come on in, thanks or whatever. So I don't know. That's what do you guys think? Feel free to hit me up or in the comments of the video version or whatever. Let me know what you think because I don't know what to think. Honestly, I don't have strong. Wonder Woman's one of those characters. Like I think Wonder Woman's cool. I like Wonder Woman. I like her in like Justice League stories. But there's very few Wonder Woman stories that I really am crazy about. Like I liked whenever Greg Rucka was writing her, even if he kind of has that like one stock tough woman that he writes in all of his novels and all of his comics and everything ever. Uh, like I'm cool with it. Like I kind of prefer it to like Joss Whedon stock tough lady character vibe thing. But yeah, Rucka kind of writes everybody sort of like this one thing, you know. I like his work a lot. I'm not going to complain, but I like the Hekatia, the Wonder Woman comic where she's like stepping on Batman's head. I don't understand how DC was able to get away with that. That is like very specifically kinky, being stepped on in a Batman mask for some of us, not me. Certainly not me. And I just thought that was weird. That's like the number one thing people recommend for DC Comics. Do you like Wonder Woman? Do you want to see the comic where she just like steps on Batman? There's a story, but it's really just this image a bunch. Or I guess some of like Phil Hyman's character stuff on Wonder Woman was cool, and I don't know. There's just nothing. I haven't been reading any of Tom King's Wonder Woman stuff. Maybe that's good. Maybe I should check that out. But she's not a character that I've ever felt like DC has done a great service to. The Grant Morrison Earth One stuff is pretty good, but I'm a Grant Mark, so it doesn't really count from me. Like I even saw people pointing out a lot of like very glaring issues with those books, and I was like, I don't really care. I think this is cool. Like so you can't trust me about anything Grant Morrison related, but maybe they'll figure out something neat. There's tons of maybe they'll get Greta Gerwig to do a Wonder Woman movie now. She did Barbie, maybe she wants to do Wonder Woman. That's actually ridiculous and probably will never happen, but who knows, you know? Speaking of famous superhero actors, everyone's favorite urban vigilante, Stephen Amell, was caught acting like a fucking big old scab this week, talking shit about the writer's strike, calling it, I think he called it like reductive and counterproductive or something, and like He said a bunch of real dumb boy shit about SAG-AFTRA, considering he's in the fucking guild. Because he was at a convention which he fucking shouldn't have been at or whatever, promoting Heels, the Stars professional wrestling television drama. I made a video about it when it came out. Very good show. I have not started to watch the new season yet. I will catch up soon. Very good friend of mine is a writer on that show. I haven't really talked to him about the Stephen Amell stuff, so I'm not going to share any of his thoughts, obviously. But I just saw it and I was like, dude, why are you like this? Like, what? You could have just fucking said this to your group chat and moved on with your day, like I do with a lot of my controversial opinions or something, like doing it publicly and then trying to backtrack when he realized it was about to fucking end his career. And then I think he said some shit in some interview being like, I really wish that this had stayed private, and some pop base or something tweeted it and they're like, yeah, Stephen Amell says he wishes this would have stayed private. His remarks were said at a public panel at a convention. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You were at a table in front of a microphone in front of a group of people with microphones and cameras. Private? Why are you fucking dumb? Why are you just a big old fucking dummy? And it just reminded me of just other dumb shit he's done that's like weird. Like, he said some weird shit about Beyonce a few years ago. Not that she's above reproach, but it was just odd. And everything about that guy, I'm just like, man, why are you such a fucking dickhead, man? He was like all butthurt about the Grant Gustin like striking a pose in front of Oliver Queen fictional characters, Gray from Arrow. He was mad people were making memes out of it. Like, dude, he's not real. It's a character you played that you stopped playing, so they killed him off. Like, what are you fucking? That guy lives the gimmick, and it makes me a little embarrassed by like secondhand embarrassment, just like by proxy. It's just what the fuck are you doing, bro? So that guy just it's embarrassing. I don't know. Speaking of embarrassing people, sorry, I thought this was kind of a piece. The Lizzo stuff. Lizzo has it's come out that she's being sued by some of her ex dancers for a lot of really abusive work environment behavior and a lot of just gross stuff. And I read the whole thing and I was like, man, I thought maybe this would be something that was exaggerated, where it was like maybe she was kind of mean, but people are like blowing it up or something. Nah, dude, it's read the whole thing, the article that's out. It is gross. And in particular, it's like gross because it's from someone who has built this like wholesome, sweet brand, And I've always said to people, it's like, look, anyone who's famous and their whole thing about being famous is that they're like nice. I always say they either better be really fucking nice or just make really good music or whatever it is. Because eventually it's going to come out that you're a fucking piece of shit or an asshole. And if you put out something mid, people will have less of a psychological barrier from telling you to fuck off into the sun forever. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. It's like a weird thing. But if you, for whatever reason, can't even pretend to be a nice person and you're a public figure and you just can't stop being a motherfucker in some way, shape, or form, then get good. Get really good at whatever you do. Write the best songs. Make the best movies. Because a sizable portion of the population will ignore that you're a bad person if you are like dope at stuff. They just won't care. A lot of people aren't dialed into stuff like that. A lot of regular people don't really like go searching for articles about people who are problematic, and they don't see the think pieces or the Twitter threads. So if your shit is great and there's an inkling of that, you being bad, most people are just going to be like, oh, those are just the haters. The haters are just coming for her. She's great. I love her. Who cares? But if the only thing you have, like if your actual music is like just fine, and all you have is your brand and your like fake image, and the image goes away, then what the hell are you going to do? What are you going to replace it with? Um, and it's kind of a bummer. Like, I know a lot of people that love Lizzo and she's like a big inspirational figure for a lot of people, but it's like, she fucked that up. And I think she carelessly didn't even think about all the people that are going to be hurt by how she is. And she didn't even like apologize really. She put out like one of those notes app apology, non apologies. That's very embarrassing for a rich person to do. Like, they have people you pay to tell you how to handle this stuff. And this is what you're doing. It's embarrassing. But it was just funny. Not funny. I don't want to say it's funny, but it was seeing that those two things overlapping of like Stephen Amell and her both like plateauing with like this thing at the same time. And it was like, man, they both done things in the past that I thought were like sketchy and weird, but I was like, who knows, whatever. So to see them blow up in the same week was like, fuck, can't you people just you're an actor, you're a musician, you're a singer, or whatever. Like, just try to be. I was thinking about John Cena, right? I talk about John Cena a lot. I love John Cena. And I remember someone was telling me they think he's really fake. I was like, what do you mean? Like, that whole thing he does, he's like the nice to the kids and all the Make-A-Wish stuff, all that, it's just a front. He's just a fake guy. And I remember thinking, like, all right, if he's faking it, right? He's faking it real good, like, all the time. Like, it's one thing to be fake to cameras, but then behind the scenes, everyone knows you're a scoundrel, right? But if you're like, you're you're a fake nice person to kids or something, and the mask never lifts. If it's a mask and you never take it off, is that so bad? Like, at some point, faking being a decent person for PR, if you're just always on and there's never a point that you take the mask off and you're shitty, isn't that kind of like indistinguishable from actually being nice? Like, even if it's self-serving, even if it's like whatever, I don't know if this is a controversial take, but I almost think I would prefer someone be fake nice 24/7 to everyone they encounter and it be like a performance or something. I think that's kind of better than if someone is like fake or people who are just like, I think a lot of people put a premium on being like, I'm just real. This is me. I'm just being real. The real me is an asshole and I'm kind of a motherfucker and you just got to deal with it. And people are like, yeah, that's real. I'm front. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't be like that around me. You sound like you suck. You go be authentic elsewhere. If I had a choice between like an authentic person who was like, look, I'm a dick and I just tell it like it is or whatever, versus John Cena just like shaking my hand intensely in a little bit of a scary manner, I'm like, no, I'd take this. This is cool. If he just goes home and like, I don't know, like curses people's names or something in the dark to cope, but he's nice all the other time to the kids, to the fans, to people he works with and stuff, his loved ones or whatever, does not mean to his partner, like, then yeah, that's fine. If he's fake forever, then I think technically that means you're good, right? Like, it's, I don't know, I think that's better than being two-faced or whatever, or one-faced, but your one face is like purposely grotesque and you think you're proud of it. You're like, oh yeah, I'm just shitty and mean, but at least I'm up front. Like, no, who the fuck told you that was cool? Be nice, you piece of shit. People need to be nicer. One other thing in the news, this isn't really actually news because there's no genuine update about it, but because I'm on Twitter less, for whatever reason, the algorithm has been showing me shit I normally wouldn't see, such as, there's like this secret industrial complex, it's not so secret, of people that share superhero movie news, but it's not really news, uh, it's just like conjecture, just hardcore conjecture, paired with fan art, so it seems a little bit more legit. Um, there was my boy Cody, who I talk about on the pod a lot, my homie. What's up, Cody? Cody sent me a post, and it was like the dude that plays Richie on The Bear saying he was cast as Ben Grimm in the Fantastic Four movie. And then I clicked through, and I was like, oh, this is like a totally bullshit, not real thing. But then I was like, fuck, that should be real. Like, I've been thinking about the Fantastic Four and how the early rumors of Adam Driver being Reed Richards sounded be completely fabricated and like not true, and wondering what the fuck are they going to do now, because I thought that would have been kind of neat. That actor, I can't remember his name right now, but that guy as Ben Grimm would be amazing. That would be fucking awesome. Uh, but I guess it's just like a fan thing. Fans, like a fan cast thing. But I hope someone sees it, because that would be cool. I like that guy a lot, and I think it would be a really good part for him. I don't know if he's Jewish in real life or not, so that's a whole thing. But I think if he is, that'd be tight. And then I saw a thing that said that Matt Smith was the front runner to play Reed Richards, and I have two things to say about that. Thing one, he does look like his skin is very malleable. He looks like a person you could stretch. Matt Smith looks very stretchable. He looks like he could have fantastically stretched limbs. But he's also just too fucking British. I don't know how you would mask that, unless we just accept that Reed has to be British or something. He doesn't have like even Benedict Cumberbatch, who's like terminally English, has that like that register of American guy voice where he's trying to do like a Harrison Ford impression but failing. He sounds American enough. I don't think Matt Smith has one of those. If he does, I've never heard it in anything he's ever made. So that's weird. But then I thought about it and I'm like, that's like exactly the kind of thing that the Marvel Universe would do. Was like, here's a guy who's famous for playing one other genre convention guy character. Bring him on in. He's already in the fold. Kind of a bummer because he's way less interesting in the part to me than like Driver would have been, or even Penn Badgley, who I think was one of the frontrunners for a while. Who knows how it's all going to shake out? This movie's going to have to get delayed like all the other fucking movies, but I just wanted you guys, like me, to be haunted by the image of Matt Smith doing like CGI stuff with his face. If you're on the audio version, I'm on YouTube right now, pulling my cheeks the way that I think Matt Smith's face would be pulled. So that's the news section. I don't really have anything else to talk about the news wise. So I watched 4 movies this week. The first one I watched was not a new. Well, 2 of them were not new watches. The first one I watched was The Prestige. I've been thinking about Chris Nolan a lot lately because of Oppenheimer. Last week I watched Insomnia and Following. I talked about that on the pod. I wanted to watch another Nolan thing, but it was a little too soon to rewatch Tenet. Like I rewatched Tenet in January, and I just feel like I gotta give some space before I rewatch it again, even though I'm obsessed with it, even though I wanted to rewatch it. And then I thought about the Batman movies, but the last time I rewatched the Dark Knight films, it was the first time I rewatched the entire trilogy, and I was like, I don't want to do this again. Not ever, but probably not anytime soon. And I don't know if it's because I loved the Pattinson Batman so much. I think it might be part of it. But watching Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises, there's parts of them I'm still crazy about and love. But there's other parts I'm just like tired of rewatching. And every time I watch them, I feel the urge to just fast forward through them or like cut around the parts I like or something. And I thought I was going to do that. Oh, why even put the movie on? I could just watch clips on YouTube or TikTok or something. So I think I've reached a point with the Batman movie or Nolan's Batman movies where they're the least rewatchable thing in his filmography for me. So I was like, that's not going to happen. Because I thought about I could just watch Dark Knight and just watch some of the fun, like fake Michael Mann stuff. But I was like, I don't want to watch the whole movie. I know there's going to be a chunk of the movie I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I've seen this movie 4,000 times. I'm good. So I let those alone. And my actual favorite Chris Nolan movie is The Prestige. And The Prestige is probably one of my favorite movies ever. Actually, like when people ask me my favorite movie, I always have to give one of like 7 answers. The Prestige is one where I'm like, I think it might just be that. It maybe might just be that. That might be my actual favorite because I never get tired of rewatching it. I would say there's a point in Nolan's filmography where like up to The Prestige, I felt his movies were very rewatchable. Like you could rewatch Memento so many times and it never gets old. I kind of wanted to rewatch Memento, but I didn't. I might do that later. But The Prestige in particular, every time I rewatch it, it gets more and more rewarding. There's so much there that it just gets better and better every rewatch. And I think it was Inception was the first one I saw where like by the third rewatch of Inception, I was kind of like, I'm seeing all the stuff I don't like now. And every time I've rewatched it, I've seen more things that annoy me about it, even though I like it a lot. So The Prestige to me is like the moment he was the perfect filmmaker to me. Like I when I was younger, I was such a fan, and this movie was a big reason why. Whereas ever since, I feel like I lose a little bit more of it every time. But Oppenheimer brought a lot of it back for me. I can't wait to rewatch Oppenheimer. It's just very hard to fit in going to watch a 3-hour movie, you know? We'll get there though. We will, I promise. But I rewatched The Prestige and it was such a good experience. One bad part about it. I mentioned how it's been a bad week and I'm really tired. I fell asleep during part of The Prestige and it made me so sad. I fell asleep around the part of the... We might spoil a little bit of this movie, I think, to talk about it. If you have not seen this 17-year-old movie now, I'm sorry. I have... this is a sorry, tangent warning. One of my best friends, Paul Travis Klein, got married this weekend. I went to his wedding, to the lovely Jeff, a beautiful man that he has been with for a very long time. I'm so happy for them. It was a beautiful, beautiful wedding. Had a great time. I have spoiled The Prestige for Paul like 40 times over the last like 10 years. I just keep thinking he's seen the movie and referencing the major twist. And he's like, Dom, I haven't watched it yet. Why did you do that? And I'm like, you've had so much time. He and I became friends in like 2010. Like, there's been so much time to watch this movie. So I don't know if he has seen it yet. And I posted like a thing to like IG about it, and I'm like, fuck, Paul's gonna see this, and he's gonna be like, Dom, again, you do this again. So, Paul, I don't know if you're listening to this. Honestly, you're a busy man, but I'm sorry for ruining The Prestige again. Anyway, The Prestige is, if you have not seen it, is a film about. It's based on a book by Christopher Golden, I think, not the comic book artist, like the British novelist, and I think that's his name. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. It's about two rival magicians, and the book is like a story of like nesting diaries, kind of, and like Nolan and his brother Jonathan Nolan's the first thing they co-wrote together, I think, for real. Uh, it's like this concentric circle of nesting doll narratives and stuff, and it's very cool. It's structurally very interesting, and the movie is about magic and how magic tricks work, but the movie itself is structured like a magic trick. It's one of my favorite things ever. I I fucking love The Prestige, man. It's so good. And I think the only person in the world that likes this movie more than me is Jay Electronica, who obsessively based his entire rap persona around it for years, and then just never released an album. Then when he finally did release an album, it was like half a Jay-Z record or whatever. Anyway, I love The Prestige. The part that I fell asleep on is the part in the middle of the movie that reveals that the diary that jeez, let me get the fuck out of myself. I'm so sorry, guys. Hugh Jackman plays one magician, Robert Angier, and Christian Bale plays the other one, Alfred Borden. They used to work together. Alfred Borden made a decision during a trick that led to Hugh Jackman's wife dying. So they'd start this like rivalry, like, well, you killed my wife. I'm gonna fuck up one of your tricks, and you're gonna lose your fingers, and so I'm gonna do this, and like it's just like this back and forth thing. I remember back in like '07 or so, like Kanye West had seen the movie and kept talking about how rap is just like The Prestige. Everyone's just out to get you, and it was very funny at the time. Not so funny now. And it's a great movie about the sacrifices artists make to make art. It's a great movie about how important escape is, how important illusion is to society and stuff, and about how important art is for making people forget about how the world really works, like how important that is, and what people are willing to do to create something that can make people feel that way. It's very, 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 very important to me. But there's a part in the movie that reveals that this diary that Hugh Jackman's character has been reading of from Christian Bale's character is actually like fake. Basically, it's like a rib. He's fucking with him. He knows he's got the diary and he's telling him all these lies. I fell asleep during that part. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie, and it was like this gut punch of like, oh my god, dude, you fell asleep during your favorite movie at like noon. It was like before a night shift to work. It was like noon. You fell asleep at noon. You already been asleep. Oh, I was so ashamed. It really kind of reminded me that I've been like working too much lately. But The Prestige holds up remarkably well. It is a really, really, really well made movie. It's probably, I think this is the last thing he made before he started like hardcore working with Hans Zimmer. Like I don't think Han scored this. I think it's David Julian who scored Memento. And I think I could be wrong. I didn't write this stuff in my notes. I'm like, it's your favorite movie. You don't have to know the details. I figured I'd remember them. Maybe I don't. But one of Hugh Jackman's best performances, one of my favorite Christian Bale performances. The first movie I ever saw Rebecca Hall in. We love Rebecca Hall around here. Huge Rebecca Hall stan. Lots of good Michael Caine. Really good performance from David Bowie as Nikola Tesla. Good performance from Andy Serkis as his assistant. It's just a fucking rad. Ricky Jay, famous Namit cast member and magician, is in the movie. I think he's one of the technical advisors. It's so good. It's so good. I made the mistake. I was looking for the exact wording for a quote from the movie, because I'd already watched the movie later in the day. I was like on my phone looking for the quote. And I accidentally stumbled upon this section of Reddit of people who have movies are I know movies are subjective and people have different opinions about how a movie, what it's about or whatever, and there's no right answer. But there's this group of people who, it's got to be the same guys who, after Tenet came out, were making like charts and graphs explaining how the movie works, who I think love Christopher Nolan because his movies are like little puzzle boxes, and he's very into playing with time, and he feels like a very cold mathematical filmmaker to a lot of people, I think. And people love that side of him. And I think they miss the very obvious emotional side of him. It's the people that argue about Inception and they talk about the layers and the what every symbol means and how, Ellen Page or Elliot, sorry, Page represents like the screenwriter, and that's what all that stuff about how the movie's a metaphor for making movies and shit. They obsess over all this like mathematical shit about Nolan, and then they ignore how beautiful the moment with the fucking pinwheel in Inception is. When Cillian Murphy pulls that pinwheel out of the fucking safe, that is such a great moment, and I feel like people that love that movie never talk about it. And I think that's a thing about all of his films is a lot of times there's like a really rich emotional thing in the movie and people just want to just want to argue about other stuff, like structural stuff. And I thought The Prestige was the one movie people didn't do that about. In my head, I'm like, oh, it's so obvious. It's such a good ending. The ending is like so. I've talked to the channel a lot. I'm a huge sucker for a good ending. You make a movie that has a bunch of problems, but in the last 5 minutes you button it up good. Nothing else matters as far as I'm concerned. These people have the wrongest, absolute wrongest theories about the ending of this movie, and the way they argue with them made me so mad. If you ever want to be the maddest you've ever been, just search like Prestige alternate ending theory on Reddit. And you will see some of the stupidest fucking ideas ever committed to paper or text ever. If you've never, I don't want to like I don't know if I really want to give away the ending of this movie on this pod in the event that someone is listening to this and has never seen it, because I would hope you could go see the movie and have a good experience with it. I don't want to be like a total fuck, but like the ending is not ambiguous. The Prestige, like I get that people debate the ending of Inception, with the spinning top. And like, once again, they over obsess about the interior logic of the movie's rules versus the emotional thing that is being said with that ending. I didn't know they did it for The Prestige, because The Prestige's ending is so tight, it's so perfect, it's so like wraps everything up just correctly, that the idea that there are human beings who watch that movie and are like, oh, it's actually this. This is what really is happening. I was like, this is the stupidest. Like, sometimes people have an alternate read on a movie and it gives the movie new dimension, or they're seeing it from a new perspective that maybe even the filmmaker didn't have. And you're like, that's actually really interesting. I never thought about this movie that way. Thank you for expanding my consciousness. This is the opposite of that. It's like, hey, take this movie that has this big, big, great ending, and imagine it being this silly, stupid fucking thing that makes sense because my world is so small and I can only conceive of things in these petty, silly ways. And it just, man, it kind of just pissed me off. I don't know why I'm probably being weirdly emotional on this podcast about various things, but I could not fathom it. I could not understand how these people could misunderstand The Prestige so much. I implore you, if you've never seen The Prestige, and I haven't ruined it for you, I don't think I've actually really explained the whole twist yet in my rambling, so you're probably safe. Please watch it. It is Chris Nolan's best movie. He's never going to top it. He's never going to top it. If he tops it, it'll be something that's so great that it like ends society or whatever. The Prestige is perfect. And watch it, and then go look at these silly people on Reddit if you can stomach it, because they make me so mad. The only way I could palate cleanse it for myself was that Nick Usen has a Letterboxd review of Tenet. I think he just rewatched it a couple of days ago, and he talks about how great the moment in Tenet is when the protagonist, John David Washington, is about to shoot this guy on the roof in Mumbai, and like how good the line reading is when he's about to do it. And I had to go and re-download Tenet just to watch that one scene, and then tell myself, Dom, you're allowed to listen to Ludwig Göransson's Meeting Neil music cue for an hour, and then you have to let this go and rewatch it a few months from now. And I was like, okay, have some restraint. So that was the end of my Nolan stuff. But The Prestige, still so good. Still rules. Could not stop thinking about it. I've made so many silly memes about it. It's just it's just so good. Please watch The Prestige. If you do nothing else that I tell you to do, if you got burned by me telling you to watch Dan Fogelman's Life Itself, I'm very sorry. But watch The Prestige. This isn't a rib. This is a real thing. It's a good movie. Then, the next night, I got to do a double feature I planned to do a couple of weeks ago. I watched The Hustler with Paul Newman, which I have not seen since like maybe high school. A film from 1961, I think. 1961 sounds about right. Directed and co-written by Robert Rossen. And then its 1986 sequel, The Color of Money, also with Paul Newman, also with baby Tom Cruise, directed by Martin Scorsese. So I'd never seen Color of Money. It's one of the like 4 or 5 Martin Scorsese movies I've never seen, and I'm trying to watch all of them before Killers of the Flower Moon comes out. But I'm not trying to like just sit and marathon them all. I'm just kind of squeezing them in here and there where they fit. I think all I have left is like Kundun, Silence, and Age of Innocence, the one with Daniel Day-Lewis, like the costume drama. I think those are the ones I have left. I think. Oh, Boxcar Bertha. I've never seen Boxcar Bertha. So yeah, other than that, I'm almost caught up. But The Hustler, I'll start there, is such a good movie. It's black and white. It's a absolute classic. I feel like most people have seen it. Paul Newman plays Fast Eddie Felson, a really good pool player. He plays straight pool, and his goal is to beat Fats Domino. Minnesota Fats. Is it Fats Domino or Minnesota Fats? Is Fats Domino a famous musician that just references that they're a fictional character? You guys can clown me for that. I think it's Minnesota Fats. It's actually the character's name. He's played by Jackie Gleason, and it's a really cool bit. And like the whole first third of the movie is just them playing pool for like 24 hours straight. It's like fucking killer. And Rosen has so many. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Has so many cool like compositions. Like the way he films the pool and the trick shots and stuff is really neat. And there's a lot of long takes, and there's also a lot of like weird cutty stuff. It's really good shit. And Paul Newman in this movie. You can say this about Paul Newman in like 13 or 14 different movies probably, but he's so good. For the longest time, I think my favorite Paul Newman performance is always in The Verdict. It's a Sidney Lumet movie that David Mamet wrote. Really great movie, but his performance in The Hustler is so good. It's so hungry, and one of like his better like young performances. And the whole time I was watching it, I kept thinking about how he looks, or how Patrick Wilson looks so much like Paul Newman. They have some similar facial structures and head shapes, and also there's little things that Paul Newman does with his eyes and with his everything really that just I kept having to rewind the movie. I would having to keep stop and rewatch just like a reaction or like a tick or like a line reading. And I was like, man, he really is sort of like one of the last movie stars, one of the last real ones. And he's so good. Jackie Gleason's really good in the movie too. Oh, it's got George C. Scott plays like a rich gangster guy that like stakes him in the movie later. It's one of the only times George C. Scott just plays like a cool guy and not like an apoplectic screaming older man. But really good shit. The movie is so much darker than I remember it. Like the third act is like very, very dark and depressing. And afterwards I looked up, I didn't know that the director was one of the guys that named names in the WAFCA hearings and stuff. Him, just like Elia Kazan, rat on his friends for being commies and shit. And this movie, he said explicitly this movie was him kind of wrestling with those feelings of guilt and about having sold out and stuff. And that changed the movie for me a lot. Like realizing that some of the symbolism he goes for in the third act is a little bit much in terms of like what happens to one of the characters. But once I realized that's what he was those are the demons he was exorcising, I was like, all right, I kind of get it. I kind of see that. I mean, like, that fucking sucks, dude. You should have kept your mouth shut. But, I didn't live through that era. So I want to pretend that, like, if I was a screenwriter and they wanted me to rat on my lefty friends, that I wouldn't. But I don't know. I've never been tested like that man was tested. So I still think I like to think that I wouldn't. It's pretty fucked up. But really good movie though. Like really, really well made movie, really well directed movie, really well written movie. It's got a shaggy runtime. It feels like it's way longer than it needs to be. Like a movie from 1961 being like 2 hours and 14 minutes for this type of movie, I was like, that's odd. But I think it helps how depressing it is. Like you need that time with the characters. But then following it right up with Color Money is so cool because like the movie opens with Martin Scorsese's own voice explaining the difference between straight pool and nine ball and how like nine ball was really popular at the time, like in the 80s and stuff. And it's interesting because it does like everything he says about the way nine ball as a game is played, how that changes. is also sort of like how the era has changed, how the times have changed. So The Color of Money is set like 25 years later, and The Hustler ends with him leaving pool. He can't play pool in a big pool hall ever again because he'll get his fingers cut off and stuff. Now he's a liquor salesman and like a womanizer and like a, you know, like a businessman. He invests in various things. And he stakes this young pool player, Julian, played by John Turturro, baby John Turturro in the house with tons of 5 o'clock shadow. And then John Turturro's character Julian's getting his ass beat at the pool table by this hot young shot named. Fuck, I don't remember the character's name. I just watched the movie last night. Anyway, it's Tom Cruise. It's baby Tom Cruise. And he's dating Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. And the three of them end up going on the road together with Paul Newman, Fast Eddie, staking Vincent. Tom Cruise's character's name is Vincent. It's baby Tom Cruise. He has this look at this. This is like the same year Top Gun came out, but he looks so much younger than in Top Gun. I think he maybe shot it first. Up to this point, he's made Risky Business, All the Right Moves, The Outsiders, and now he's in a Martin Scorsese picture, and he looks kind of like a cross between like young Timothy Chalamet and like Sammy Guevara, the AEW wrestler. Weird to say, but like it's baby Tom Cruise. There's a shot of him and Paul Newman saying face to face, where I'm like, he's got to be wearing lifts. I didn't realize he started wearing lifts this early in his career because Paul Newman's taller, but they're eye to eye. It's good shit. Martin Scorsese. It's Michael Ballhaus, the Taxi Driver cinematographer, is the DP on the movie, edited by Thelma Schoonmaker, of course. And they do so many fun things with the pool scenes, like with the balls and the table and everything. And there are some truly magnificent, absolutely magnificent compositions. There's a handful of shots of this movie where I'm like, this is so fucking good. Like, I completely forgot I was watching a movie for a second, which is, I guess, maybe bad. But I had to just pause and like, I hate when people do that one perfect shot shit on Twitter, and it's just like a fucking screensaver from a Marvel movie. There's some one perfect shots in this movie. There's some really great dynamic compositions that are so layered, and oh man, really, really good shit. And really good performance from Paul Newman. It's funny, he's playing old here, but he would have like 30 more years of playing old. It's like the beginning of him playing old. And you could tell the chemistry he's got with like Cruise. Probably wrote off on Tom, I think, a little bit. Maybe it helped why he's one of the great movie stars now. He got to actually touch greatness from the previous generation. And it's so good. I cannot believe it took me this long to watch this movie. This movie existed for a month of like into my life, and it took me 36 years to watch it. But it's so good. And if you're going to watch it, definitely do the double feature. Do Hustler into Color of Money. It's really cool watching Paul Newman play the part across 2 different eras, 2 different types of film, drastically different directors. Really, really good stuff. Richard Price did the screenplay in this one, and you can really tell he's got that really great eye for dialogue and ear for dialogue, and it's really strong shit. Please watch The Color of Money. It's great. There's a lot of really fun songs. There's a really good sequence set to Werewolves of London. I made a joke when I logged in on Letterboxd, but when I watched The Hustler, I was like, there's like 7 or 8 black people in this movie. None of them have dialogue. They're all in the background, but I joked that there's more of them than there are in Oppenheimer, because there's like one black guy in Oppenheimer. He doesn't have dialogue either. And then you get to Color of Money, and like one of the random nameless, faceless black guys in the background of The Hustler has like a pretty important part in Color of Money in this movie. In this film, he owns this famous billiards hall now, and like there's a lot of black characters and stuff, and I don't know, it kind of felt like a changing of the times thing. Really good double feature I did there. I think the biggest thing to kind of come out of watching that, though, is I thought so much about like Paul Newman and stardom, and so much about what he was capable of doing as an actor, like as a movie star, and how much he did with his face and all this different stuff, and how much integrity he had as a performer, and how audiences bought into him for decades because his work was so consistent and so good. And I wanted to watch that documentary about him and his wife Joanne Woodward that Ethan Hawke made. I thought it was a feature documentary. I knew it was like a 6-hour miniseries. I was like, we'll watch that later. I don't have 6 hours for this yet, but instead, I followed up with a documentary about another star. I watched Becoming Cody Rhodes, The American Nightmare, a documentary made by the WWE Network through Peacock. It's a Peacock original on the cock. And it's just about wrestler Cody Rhodes and his journey, his entire life story, and how he left being a mid-carder in WWE, went and took the indies by storm, sort of, and then helped develop and open and create AEW All Elite Wrestling, and then how he left and came back to WWE and he's a bigger star than ever before. The documentary is pretty cool. There's some nice stuff in it. It's if you know any of Cody's stories, not a lot of like new information in it. If you're on the fence about watching it, but I was a pretty big, for people that don't like wrestling, we're talking about wrestling for a few minutes now. I was a pretty big wrestling fan for a long. I've been like wrestling for my whole life, but in like 2010, 2011, I liked Cody Rhodes when he was, he's the son of Dusty Rhodes, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, one of the smartest bookers of all time, like just a real icon. One of the coolest fat guys of all time too. So we really stand Dusty around here. But Cody, not fat, was pretty good mid-card guy in the WWE in the early 2010s. He had this dashing character where he was like a conceited model type. Then he had this like weird fake Doctor Doom character that came out of it when he like broke his nose. Then he became Stardust, like a really weird version of like his older brother Dustin Rhodes' character Goldust. And then Dusty died, and then he felt like he had nowhere to go in the company, so he left. And I remember when he left, I was a big indie wrestling guy. I watched a lot of non-WWE stuff. And the idea of Cody Rhodes, who only existed in the WWE system, going outside of it was not something I really wanted to watch. Like, he had a list of wrestlers who wanted to wrestle, and I was like, I don't want to see that shit. And sure enough, every time I saw him do something in the indies, I was like, this is so, it's like watching a rich guy go to like fantasy camp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's wrestling all these guys who are making like enough to get home at the end of the night, maybe. And he's got WWE money and supporting him and stuff. And he get these big paydays. And a lot of the matches were just kind of not all that interesting to me. I didn't think his character was doing much. And we all called him the 3-star general because every match he had was like decent, like 3 stars. And then he was in Japan, and he was all over the place. Like, I'm kind of sick of him. I was like, man, fuck this guy. I'm tired of this guy. And then they started All Elite Wrestling, and almost everyone I know loves AEW. I'm one of the only diehard internet-based wrestling fans I know that doesn't. I'm just not crazy about them. There's stuff I like, but not a lot of stuff. And even when they started, one of the things that struck me was, Cody was one of the only guys who knew how to make a story feel big. He knew how to make wrestling programs feel big and important because he came from WWE and his dad was Dusty Rhodes. He understood the emotional storytelling psychology stuff that I think a lot of the guys who are more entertaining maybe in the ring, a lot of these work rate guys that do cool moves and flips and stuff, didn't understand how to make their programs feel important. And he was making programs with way lesser opponents feel like fucking movies, you know? And eventually people just got sick of him. He kind of existed in his own little world over there. You know, he didn't really interact with a lot of the main roster except for specific programs. And his shtick was getting stale, you could say, and people started booing him and stuff. And he left the company. And then he came back to WWE and he re-debuted at WrestleMania, which no one ever fucking does. And we were at that WrestleMania. And I remember distinctly, there was this moment. I was there with a bunch of my friends, my friend Justin, host of the Black Print, host of the A Show. You know, we love Justin. Justin's bachelor party, and a bunch of us were at Mania together. It was a great time. Phenomenal time. And there was a moment during the match where, like, we all knew it was going to be Cody. That had been, like, that story had leaked out months before. We knew it was going to be Cody as a surprise opponent for Seth freaking Rollins. And the moment Cody came out with the same fucking theme song he had in AEW, the same gear, the same everything, it was a weird moment because we were like, wow, this actually feels like kind of big. Because another thing, we were going into it, we were joking, like, all right, he's going to come in here and kiss the ring and apologize for leaving and all the stuff he did in AEW. He's got to like suck dick to get back to like the top or whatever. Who cares? He's here to get pinned by all of his former colleagues he mocked from over, from down in Jacksonville. But then the match was like way better than I expected. And there was a moment in the match where like Justin turned back to me and we both looked at each other like, yo, I don't think he's losing. I think he's going to win this match. I don't think he has to kiss any rings. And it was this weird thing of like, wait a minute. They really brought this guy back to actually put him over as a real big star now. He wouldn't made himself a big star and they're going to run with it. And they're going to present him in a way that he couldn't be presented in AEW just because this is a smaller place. It's just that they don't have stars the same way, you know? And sure enough, man, he's just been hotter than ever. And like, we were making fun of this man for so long. I felt like such a hypocrite for becoming a big fan, but it just something seemed different. And people are, oh, you just like him now because it's WWE, blah, 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 your mark. No, it was just different. Like, and it was the star power thing. This is a guy that has grown up around stars and worked with other stars and understands what it means to be like a cut above, to wear suits to the ring and do all the promos on Good Morning America and that type of shit, you know? And just like in wrestling as in movies, there's not a lot of people that have that anymore. Even young actors I like, they don't feel like stars. And a lot of people don't think that's a problem, and maybe it's not, I don't know. But I think the movies industry in general is better when there's artists who are big stars, who care about the craft and care about the finance side of it, who can get really special things made, who can stake things with their faces and their histories to do good work, you know? And we need more of that. I think having more guys who are stars, more women who are stars, more people who are stars, uh, gives you more ammo to fight against like the corporate side of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, because when you're famous, there's things you can get away with, and if you can weaponize that in the right way, you can get certain movies made. You can help other people get things made. You know, and like we need that. I think we need that. And I think people keep thinking like it doesn't matter. It's that those people are stopping marginalized people from getting on, and it's like no. I mean, maybe in some cases, but like things aren't better for anybody because there's less movie stars. They're better for studios. They're better for rich people and the really really rich people. You know, so I don't know. Watching that, I think the doc's decent. It's pretty good. Got me excited about WrestleMania 40 when Cody finally finishes the story. Some good shit in there, but yeah, just it made me think about Stardom a lot. I'm probably going to be continuing thinking about it. But that's what I watched this week. My top 4. So we're gonna go into the Q&A section. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I'm weird. All right, so let's see. I have a couple of questions for this week. Okay. Oh, the first one is from my bestie, Kyle Bragg. Kyle says, because I'm sure you want more social media accounts to manage, thoughts on a Patreon subscription setup where certain tiers can force you to watch and review movies for the pod/channel. So people ask me this all the time, and like I desperately need to start a Patreon of some sort because I know it's like kind of unhealthy to monetize things you do for fun, but also society is very hard to exist in, so monetization would not be the worst thing. And I don't make very much money off of the YouTube channel itself on its own. I haven't really grown to the size where I can get like sponsorships and stuff, although I want them. I cannot wait till I'm a big enough entity and presence to be a complete fucking whore for sponsorships. You guys are all gonna look at me like, man, I don't know if I respect Dom the same way, and that's fine. Because when I start getting that shitty Bluetooth headphone money and I start getting that fucking meal prep kit money, I'm gonna act brand new. I'm gonna blow up and act like I know nobody. But the main thing holding me back from starting a Patreon, honestly, is just I firmly believe that if you do that sort of stuff, and if you take money to support the thing, that you have to be really consistent. And the biggest thing I've been ashamed about with this channel is I can't be consistent. And I mean, I can't because I'm like not a hard enough worker or something. I just mean that my day job makes it very important and impossible for me to be as consistent as I'd like to be. This is my 4th week in a row recording a podcast, and I'm very proud of this. I have not got any other videos up in the last couple of weeks, and I feel ashamed of that. But I mean, like it's a lot to do to be consistent around my weird schedule. I never know when unforeseen circumstances are gonna fuck up my shit. So I think once I get a little more comfortable with figuring out a better work-life balance, I really want to do this. Because I think there are enough of you out there who would actually support, which would be really cool. You guys support me all the time anyway. But I would love to do that. And also I think it would just be cool. I would like to have people, I would love to just be like, you tell me what to make. I have no idea anymore. So I know I already know I have some friends who if I had a Patreon would be like, oh, I'm going to give them this thing to do. It's going to fuck with Dom. And I'm going to be like, that's fine. That's cool. I love taking direction. I fucking hate being in charge of things. So, that'll come soon. I keep saying it, but I really want it to come soon. So stay tuned. And then Kyle had another question. Top 3 movies about movies, documentary or narrative. I promise I'll think of some non-listicle questions at some point. Honestly, Kyle, I love listicle questions. Keep them coming. So when I looked at this earlier, I was trying to make a list because movies about movies is like one of my favorite fucking types of movies, like Truffaut's Date for a Night, Get Shorty. There's lots of movies about movies that I love, even like bad ones. It's kind of hard to fuck up. I like movies about the whole process. I love inside baseball stuff. That's kind of why I love The Prestige, right? I love the magic inside baseball stuff. Uh, but I think my favorite documentary about movies, I talk about it on Letterboxd all the time because I watch it once a year, sometimes twice a year, is Side by Side, which is a 2013 documentary about film versus digital in terms of film versus digital cameras, editing, sound, digital coloring, theatrical exhibition. It's produced and narrated by Keanu Reeves, and he interviews a bunch of directors, tons of people in film, and it's really cool. My favorite thing about it is that they make a really great argument for both sides, and they have them clash really well. So like you'll have one scene of James Cameron being like, well, yeah, digital's fucking perfect. What are you talking about? And then it'll cut to Chris Nolan being like, but is it really? Is it really perfect? No, I know James Cameron said that, but I don't know about that. Or they do this really fun thing where almost every 20 minutes they cut to George Lucas. And I don't know if you've ever seen the interview with RZA where he talks about, someone asks him about, like the Serato or whatever, like the digital, like the DJing software. And very casually, he's like, oh yeah, I invented it. I invented that. Like I invented that for this other thing, and then it got sold and it became that, but I made that. Lucas does that throughout the documentary. It's like, oh yeah, well we made the Edidroid, and that became Avid. You know, we had to make the computers, and I had some computer friends, and I'm rich from my toy money, so we made that, and I invented that, and I'm responsible for that personally. You know, and if you've never seen it, really good movie, especially for people who have like questions a lot about how the difference between film and digital. The movie it's very straightforward about explaining them, and then it gives a lot of different kinds of examples and stuff. And they talk to a really great array of filmmakers. Really good movie. I love watching. It's like my comfort movie, mostly because Keanu's voice is really calming, and then he has a bit of a rapport with so many of these filmmakers that they are more comfortable around him because it's Keanu Reeves, not some stuffy documentarian. Like there's one part in particular he's talking to David Lynch, and David Lynch is like, Keanu, I don't know. And it always makes me laugh because David Lynch's voice is funny. But Side by Side rules. My real favorite movie about making movies is State and Maine, the David Mamet movie. I actually have a video on the channel about it and how it's got my favorite Philip Seymour Hoffman performance, but also just that movie is so good. And I love it more than most people that I know. It's really funny, really sharp, really well made. Maybe the best thing David Mamet's ever done. Non-Glengarry, Glen Ross edition. And then my other favorite, I think I have to say, is Adaptation. Charlie Kaufman, Spike Jonze, Nicolas Cage as Charlie Kaufman and his imaginary twin brother trying to write a movie. It captures so much stuff for me. I quote it all the time. I'm never not thinking about Brian Cox's performance as Robert McKee, the guy that wrote Story, the book about screenwriting and stuff. Really, really good movie. If you've never seen it, it's weird in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of things about it that are strange, but it's a really strong movie. It has a lot of funny things to say about the industry, so that's my top 3. I'm probably missing like 10 other movies, but Dolomite Is My Name. I'm sorry. This is a movie Kyle loves that I love as well. Dolomite Is My Name is one of my favorite movies about movies, and Eddie Murphy is so funny in it. He's so funny in it, and he's so good, and everyone should go see it. It's like so underrated. As long as it's still on Netflix and they haven't pulled it off like a bunch of bastards. I hope they haven't. I mean, maybe they have. I don't know. Okay, next question. Oh, this is from Susan Thornton. My question is there a big male director that keeps getting money to make movies in spite of flops and bad movies that should have some of the money taken away to give to more deserving women, non-binary, and people of color, all genders, directors to make movies? Who are some of those deserving up-and-comers or even proven directors that don't get the opportunities they deserve? This is a really great question. So the first half of the question, maybe a few years ago, I would have had many more answers, but I think that like the system is sort of starting to correct itself. So like in my notes, I wrote Bob Zemeckis. That's just me being mean. I don't necessarily think Robert Zemeckis is like should be defunded, but maybe he should be defunded. Maybe he should hang it up, man. It's okay to stop while you're ahead. Like I would have said a couple of years ago, I would have said Brett Ratner, but he's basically been stopped. I would have said Bryan Singer, but he's essentially been stopped too. I don't think he's made a movie since Bohemian Rhapsody. And, you know, I think that a lot of there are still your failing upwards cowboys in the industry. They're still like, look, if you're like a white dude and you make a movie that sucks, you have a better chance of rebounding from it than if you are a black man or a black woman or a woman or whatever. I always talk about how many different filmmakers made multiple fucking awful movies that failed and then rebounded from it like it was nothing, versus like Karen Kasama, whose career has derailed multiple times from unsuccessful films despite being a great talent. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like the people who are like really egregious repeat offenders are mostly like non-existent anymore for the most part. Maybe I might just be forgetting somebody. In terms of up and coming directors who are more marginalized, people that I think should be given better opportunities, Julia Hart, not from The House of Black on AEW Collision. Julia Hart, the director, she's married to La La Land producer Jordan Horowitz, the guy that was like, Moonlight, you won. They produced movies together as well. She directed Miss Stevens, which is a nice little movie that has a really good early Timothée Chalamet performance. And she also made 2 movies that I've reviewed on the channel previously. One, I'm Your Girl, that I think Rachel Brosnahan is in, and the other one, Fast Color, with fuck, I can't remember her name right now. Oh my god, it's embarrassing. There's a movie called Fast Color. It's got a lot of actresses in it that are good, but I cannot remember their names at the moment. If you've never seen it, definitely check it out. It's like an indie superhero vibe type thing. And then I would say friend of the channel, Rhoda Blank, the writer-director behind the 40-year-old version. I think I'd like to see her get bigger budgets and more stuff. I think that movie was really special, and I want to see her making more stuff for sure. Shaka King, Judas and the Black Messiah was fucking huge. How that guy hasn't been snapped up for something yet is crazy to me. I don't know what he's working on, but I thought that movie was amazing. I wrote for that movie so hard, and I don't know what he's doing right now. And then J.D. Dillard, actually. I'd never seen anything of his before, and then I don't know if he got signed on for a Star Wars thing or something, but I saw Devotion before the great Jonathan Majors scandal, and it was like they advertised this on Top Gun Maverick so heavy, and it's him, it's Majors and Glenn Powell, the hot guy from Top Gun, and really really strong little movie. I was like, this guy, he's got something. I don't know what necessarily, but I think he's got something up his sleeve at some point. So those are some people that I like to see get some real fucking money and some real fucking opportunities. Thanks, Susan. Another question from my homie Luke Hare. Where do you fall on reserved seating? I love the experience of getting to a theater 20 minutes early, checking in with Maria, his lovely wife, and getting the best seat in the house. Now, when I go, I like being able to avoid other people. Wanted to know what your take on reserved seating was. So, about 10 years ago, in 2013, one of the theaters in the company I work for in the area got like, what's the word for it? Like renovated? They got renovated. They got switched to nicer seats for the time, and they got a bar built out, and they switched to reserved seating. And the goal, I think, was sort of to try to, it was a theater that had a primarily like older audience, and they were trying to make it more appealing for younger audiences. And at the time, reserved seating was like a way to do that. It's like young people are starting to like choosing their seats ahead of time on their phone through an app. You know what I mean? Like the whole first come first serve thing feels so like passe, right? And I remember helping out during that reno, and there was this group of old women that came in just berating everyone they could see about the reserved seat. They knew the reserved seating thing was coming. It hadn't happened yet. And they were saying some truly awful things, friends, about it. They were saying some really fucked up shit. And I remember this one lady was, at the time, like JCPenney had changed something. They changed the way their coupons worked or something. And it was a big scandal, and a bunch of like people were mad about it. And then they ended up changing their policy back. I don't remember what this was. This was like a blip. It wasn't a huge thing. And these women were like, just like JCPenney. You guys are going to be just like JCPenney. You're going to change. You're going to go right back to the way we want it. And that's how it's going to be. And then they were so mean, man. They were fucking awful. Flash forward 10 years. I'm the general manager of that theater. I run it now myself. We still have reserved seating. And those exact same fucking women still come. And they pick their seats ahead of time, and they just accept it. Who's going to change? Who's like JCPenney now? Martha. All right. I don't know their names. They're so mean to me. They're so mean to everybody. But no, my personal feeling about reserved seating is I like picking my seat ahead of time. but it doesn't really matter to me. I'm a person who is usually the first person to the movies when I go to one. Like, I always get there before Maria Menounos even comes on the screen. I'm in general, I really, really am. From working in a movie theater for 14 years, just going to the movies all the time since I was a child, I I go early. I take going to I get to the movies earlier than I do the doctor. I have a doctor's appointment in the morning, and I'm not so sure I'm going to get there on time. But if she was playing a movie at that time, I would be there like 20 minutes ahead of time. That's just how I am. So for me, it's not a big benefit, but I like it. And from an operational standpoint, I think it's generally, here's the thing about reserved seating. It is good for when you're really busy because people pick their seats, they have those seats, and the people that show up, they can show up a little late and not end up being in the front row. That's a big problem. The thing about reserved seating when it's like slow is someone will come to you and be like, I don't like my seat, can I change my seat? And it's like, there's 4 of y'all in there, sit wherever the fuck you want. Like, it's something I wish we could suspend during slow periods or slow parts of the day, but like it as a system, it only works if you're committed to it. So I like reserved seating. I think it's the right thing to do. People sometimes are like annoyed by it. Like, why do I have to pick my seat? Like, because you just pick your fucking seat. Just look at pick. I'll pick one for you. Just pick one. But yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's good for exhibition, personally, anyway. Uh, Another question from my friend Fatura. Has there ever been a prop in a genre movie or something distinctly inedible that made you think, yeah, I'd eat that? What a fucked up question. um, I I have an answer, but I don't know if it counts. And I don't know if it's gonna sound like I'm like hedging my bets or something. My answer would be the imaginary food from Hook. It doesn't necessarily look good. It doesn't look like real food, but ever since I was a child, so ever since 1991, whenever the movie came out, I have wanted to eat the imaginary, colorful, mushy food from Hook. There used to be like a bakery, or like one of the local grocery chains had a bakery where they would sometimes have bread that looked like the colors from Hook, and I would always get it, and it would always just taste like regular bread. It just looked like the stuff from Hook. But I felt like the stuff from Hook would have a more interesting taste, like something indescribable. I don't know if other people love that scene in the movie the way I do. I don't know if people like Hook the way I do, but like, I love Hook. There was a point this week at work where we were dangerously low on popcorn seed, and we were not going to make it through the night, and we ended up resolving the problem. But there was a moment where I was just, because I'm so tired and delirious, I was just like, they can just fucking imagine the popcorn. And one of the managers was like, what? And I was like, yeah, man, bang-a-rang. They'll figure it out. Just use their imaginations. And then I'm like, she's never seen this movie. I probably sound crazier than normal. But no, I wish I could have gone down and told those guests, like, oh, there's popcorn. And then just be like animatedly doing the, if you listen to the audio version on the video of doing the thing, the crowing thing that Rufio does. If you guys haven't seen Hook, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Watch Hook. It's a great movie. But that's what I would eat if I had the choice. Dylan Roth asks, hi Dylan, have you seen Biosphere? And on this topic, what are some of your favorite movies about male friendships? Okay, I have not seen Biosphere, but I should, because I would like to watch a movie that's just Mark Duplass and Sterling K. Brown talking. I want to see how long it takes Sterling K. Brown to cry. Uh, so many of my favorite movies are about male friendships. I would say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is up there for me. I don't know if The Nice Guys counts. I don't want to name just a bunch of Shane Black buddy movies, I guess, but I love movies about male friendships, and I think that so few of them fully exist. I don't remember the name of it, but the one where Paul Rudd and Jason Segel become friends. It's silly to say it's one of my favorites, and I don't remember the name of it, but that movie has a lot of cool stuff in it about male friendship. And last week I talked a little bit about Crazy Stupid Love, that stuff between Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell. I thought was very touching. I think male friendships are so cool. I think all friendships are so cool, obviously, but I think that like there's a tendency that when male friendships are depicted and there's a strong bit of intimacy between them, is that like people want to ship them and make it like a gay thing, and make it like sexual, which I mean, I guess sometimes it can be, but I sometimes think that's a little unfair, and that movies about, I think if you can't make space for there to be movies about two men being really close and like being like willing to like die for each other and stuff, and then also not make it romantic, I think that's not good. I think that men need to be made more comfortable with the idea that like friendship can be an intense, intimate thing, and then it's not weird. I always hate when I see people, especially like on the internet, people talk about male friendships. And they talk about like, why do men's friendships are so much less more fleeting than women's friendships? Like women's friendships were always so deep and all this different stuff. And like, I kind of think that's horseshit. And I think that a lot of my male friendships are actually pretty fucking deep. And I often think that maybe the reason more male friendships aren't this deep is because they see shit like that on the internet all the fucking time. And it makes them feel like maybe it's weird to not be just oblivious guys that don't know each other's, personal stuff. I think that men are just intimate in a different way. And I don't necessarily think it's a lesser way. And I've always wanted to see more movies on that subject. One movie that everyone should see, I talked about in a video late last year. Ellen May has a movie called Mikey and Nikki, and it's not a great movie about male friendship in a positive way, but I think it's a really great movie about some of the worse or darker elements of male friendship and how certain types of jealousies form and sort of a competitiveness between men. It's like a sort of like a what not to do about being pals type of movie. But I love, man, the episode's almost over. I don't want to get into a tangent about this, but male friendship is like so fucking important to me. And I have so many friends of all genders and stuff, whatever. But I mean, like my friendships with my male friends, it's like you live in a society that like does not encourage real friendship. It encourages like a weird sort of superficial kind of friendship. So, when men can like feel comfortable complimenting each other, feel comfortable being physically intimate, you know what I mean? Like feel comfortable hugging and stuff like that. Like I know a lot of this stuff is very silly, and I think in general a lot of men have gotten over this in more recent years, and like only the more regressive types have a problem with it, but I still think it's really important. I mean, there are so many men in my life that I would like take a whole ass bullet for. Not even necessarily just like a real life bullet, like if we're being shot at, like those bullets from Mario that are like fucking huge. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that are like the size of a tank. Those bullet things with like they're smiling at you as they're coming at you. I would take one of those for most of my friends, because I love them so much, and like those are the people that in your life you choose them. You know what I mean? Like they're people in my family. I love my family obviously, but it's like there's no choice, right? We all got the same fucking blood. This is just a thing. Friendship is like, hey man, me and you met because we both like this one thing, and then we expanded from that, and there's a lot of things we like together, and you're always there for me, and I'm always there for you, and I do anything for you, whatever it would take, anything at all. Um, that's so powerful to me, Uh, I love male friendship. I love all friendship. I don't want to say like I love male friendship in a way that it's like someone's going to come and be like, all friendships matter. But I do think that on some level, maybe we need more, we need to bring back the buddy movie, man. There's not fucking enough of them. Like, there's not, Shane Black, what are you doing? We need to get back in the studio. We need to cook, all right? Please, we need to show these people what it means to be star-crossed pals again. Thanks, Dylan. That's a really good question. I got to watch Buyer's Fair. I'm going to add it to my watch list. Last question of the episode goes to the homie Bree Reed, a fellow friend from the Baltimore Beat, who, by the way, put me on to Richard's Still Rainwater, the unofficial sponsor of this episode of the pod. ASMR. Sorry. I don't know how we got this conversation, but she put me onto this. I love canned water. I think it's just the fact that I'm like an ex-alcoholic and I miss being able to crack open a cold one with the boys. I love like liquid. If they put water in a can, I'm gonna fucking drink it. This is really good water. Anyway, I'm very thirsty. I'm gonna chug this when this episode's done. This is the final question of the week. Bree asks, after seeing Gosling dazzle as Ken, where do you want to see his career go next? What's your Gosling vision board? It's funny that she asked this because I feel like I do have a Gosling vision board in my mind somewhere. But honestly, there's two things kind of diverging. Two things I'd like to see. I would love to see Gosling just reteam with one of the many filmmakers he has a great relationship with. So like I think he worked really well with Denis Villeneuve in Blade Runner 2049. I love his two films with Nick Refn. I'd love to see him and Refn team up again. I'd love to see him do another movie with Greta. I don't want that to be the Narnia thing necessarily, but I'd love to see them reteam. Um, Friend of the channel, Ramon Villalobos, had a viral tweet where he talked about how Greta Gerwig and him should reteam for an adaptation of Grant Morrison's Animal Man. And that's ridiculous. Ramon's always on some other shit that I'm always in awe of. But I couldn't get out of my head for days, so I kind of want that. But I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like it's unrealistic to even ask for it. So if I have to be semi-realistic, and piggybacking off of my last question, I would love for Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe to reteam for another Nice Guys movie. And I know there's a lot of guys on film Twitter who make wanting a Nice Guys sequel such a part of their identity that it seems kind of toxic. It's like how people are sick of Miami Vice bros, but like, just like being a Miami Vice bro, I am a Nice Guys bro, and I would love to see a sequel. I would give anything for that, actually. I think Ryan is so good in that first movie, and I just need it. I need it like I need air. I need it so bad. So thanks, Bree. And thanks everyone else who put in a question for the week. As always, you can always ask me questions for future episodes in the comments of any of my videos. You can hit me up at Twitter, on Twitter. You can hit me up on Blue Sky. I'm on there, but I don't really use it. Or Spill, I guess. You can email me at armchairauteur@gmail.com. You hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to. I'm around. Ask me questions, and I will answer them on the pod. So this episode ran a little bit long. I am sort of sorry. I hope no one's mad. Thank you guys for listening, as always, and for watching. As always, if you're watching this on the YouTube, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, please subscribe. Hit the little bell icon. You get notifications when I put out any new videos. I've got to have a new video out soon once we get through some of this stuff. But regardless, the pod will be out every Friday around noon. So yeah, anything you want to ask or follow up, put in the comments and stuff. And if you're listening to the audio version, please subscribe to wherever I am. There's like all these different things, all these places it is. Leave a review, tell a friend about it, that sort of thing. So yeah, thank you all again. I hope everyone's doing well. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.